Assalamu alaikum, you're watching Views and News, and I'm Faisal Rahman from our Islamabad studios. Today, we'll be, in fact, doing another show on the same story which we did yesterday, and that was about the Afghan peace process and the American pullout. Last night, there was this development that in the media they had shown two very important issues. One, earlier we got to know that the Taliban, they are not ready to attend the Istanbul conference. And interestingly, later on, we got to know that since they were not ready to attend it this week, rather the next week, so the new scheduled date, according to the Turkish foreign minister, would be from 24th till 4th of May. This includes the interesting date of 1st of May, the actual pullout date announced by none other than Mr. Donald Trump, the US president, the former president rather. Now, the interesting part is that yesterday we got to know that the Biden administration in fact has said that they will be pulling out their troops this year, the same year 2021, but before 9/11. Now that is a very important date. This is going to be the 20th anniversary of 9/11 incident, and interestingly that date has been set. So very interesting, I would say, next 6 months. So today we'll be in fact talking about a couple of very important areas, and let me tell you about those. It says the US troops will leave Afghanistan by 11th September 2021. The US would miss a May deadline for a pullout agreed with the Taliban by the Trump administration last year. And US media reports that the new deadline would coincide with the 20th anniversary of the terror attacks on the World Trade Center and the Pentagon in the US in 2001. Ashraf Ghani, the president of Afghanistan, says that I spoke with Secretary Anthony Blinken. We discussed the ongoing peace process, the upcoming peace talks in Turkey, and also spoke about the upcoming phone call with President Joe Biden. And it further states that the slow pace of talks between Afghanistan government and Taliban negotiators so far suggests it will be difficult to reach a power sharing agreement before US troops are withdrawn. So these are the important areas I think we'll be talking about. Let me introduce you to our panelists. In our studio we have with us Dr. Nazir Mahmood Saab, senior columnist, writer, journalist. Sir, thank you so much for your time. And we are also joined in by Hassan Khan Saab on Skype, expert on foreign affairs and Afghan affairs in particular. Thank you so much, Khan Saab. And we have with us Brigadier retired Mahmood Shah. Mahmood Shah Saab is a senior analyst, senior journalist. Brigadier Saab, pleasure to have you, sir. Thank you so much for your time as well. Now, let me put the first question, sir. What an interesting date. What an interesting year. 2 decades of presence in Afghanistan, and finally they've decided they'll pull out. What is going on now, sir?
A very interesting situation is developing, and this was much awaited decision from Joe Biden, because for the past at least 3 months, they have been saying that complete pullout by May 1st was not possible. And even other NATO members were also adamant that, this deadline could not be met. So I think this is one step forward, and in between they plan to do 2 things. One was in Moscow, a detailed multilateral negotiations were held, in which even United States also participated. But again, no solid outcome we could see. And the second was planning for the Istanbul summit. So this announcement, I think, paves the way for at least next 6 months for a gradual pullout from Afghanistan. So I look at it positively.
Will this start after 5-6 months, or will they end after 5-6 months?
No, they will end. The announcement
because
is very clear.
Because they do not have a huge presence at the moment.
The announcement is clear what they have said. They said we will resume the withdrawal by May 1st. Okay. So that at least, some part of that deadline is met. So this is an indication that Biden administration is keen on respecting the deadline to some extent.
Great.
So, and then we need to keep in mind that it's not only a question about 2,500 US troops. There are another additional, which not many people talk about, another 6,300 US contractors.
Is that the right figure, sir? Because it is very confusing. Few people said it's around 20,000. Few said initially there were 70,000. God knows how many are still present.
No. The latest figure that I checked and from reliable sources, and that was 2,500 US troops, 6,344 contractors, US contractors.
Okay.
And then another
NATO.
10,000 troops consisting of NATO plus 14 other countries. So, it comes to only a couple of hundred soldiers from each country.
All right.
So, total number will come out to 10,000 plus 6,000 plus 2. So, it's around 20,000 if you combine all. But these are not all soldiers. See, Taliban are demanding that, they should withdraw by May 1st. And the latest development, Taliban have not taken positively. They have reacted it and they have said that, United States should abide by the deadline. So what I foresee that, if Taliban boycott the next round of talks in Istanbul, then the next 6 months, of course, the US will keep withdrawing forces.
But sir, now since they've agreed that they will be a part of the conference, of the summit, but the interesting part is that if they are not, then there is no point holding the summit.
Exactly.
So exactly. So that's why the Turkish foreign minister, as well as the American authorities, and on top the Taliban and the Afghan government, they have reached an accord that they will all be a part of that summit. Sir, if you allow me, let me go to Brigadier Mahmood Shah Saab and take his point of view on the same development. Brigadier Saab, thank you so much once again for taking out your time and being a part of a show. Sir, the latest development, it's a huge development. At least a date has been given, some time period has been set. Joe Biden administration is ready to leave. Initially, we all thought they might not, or they'll at least keep a certain presence. How important the next 5-6 months are, sir, as far as the Afghan peace process is concerned and the future of Afghanistan?
I think these 6 months are very important, and very important that we should be keeping a very close watch on situation inside Afghanistan. This is a bad decision in the sense that people are saying that if you are ready to withdraw, then you might as well withdraw as per the agreed date, that is 1st May, which the Taliban are asking for. If you are putting it 4 or 5 months later, it is a political decision. Militarily, it makes no sense. In fact, withdrawal from any area is a proper operation of war, for which you have to really plan and then really carry it out as an operation. This looks that this whole thing may turn into a precipitate withdrawal. That is what happened in Vietnam and a few other places if you do not plan well. The whole, the American commentators inside America are looking at it with disbelief. They are saying we will believe it once it happens. I think this is an addition which is a toxic addition to what they set out to do, in which case it was looked at, it appeared that they want to keep the present ruler, that is Ashraf Ghani and party, and also Taliban to one side, in order to work out a sort of system, framework in Afghanistan before they withdraw. And that was a correct approach. But now when you announce the date, that means you are working for that formula where the Afghan government and the Taliban are negotiating a sort of adjustment which will be very short term before the real, what you call, civil war breaks out, and probably may not be educated to contain this situation. So I think the first one which they thought out was sensible, and but now it appears that they are looking for a precipitate withdrawal. There are the troops that my earlier friend mentioned are there, but actually the whole thing is that they have only 2,500 are the ones who are a supporting staff for air operation. Mostly they are technical people, they're not for fighting. And when you look at NATO, in each case there are 500, 600 soldiers. They are not capable of a combined operation. The force is very little. They don't have to carry out a lot of preparation for withdrawal to how to pull out. They are not involved in any ground fighting. They are sitting and they can go out very easily. So I think a bad decision, a toxic addition to the present situation. What are they going to negotiate if they are not working out any formula which includes that the constitution will be changed, that groups or stakeholders are to be accommodated in the future framework for Afghanistan. So the as to how do they fly out of Afghanistan, which they can easily do. So I think a bad. We should be looking at it with lot of carefulness and lot of anxiety that probably things are not going well in Afghanistan.
All right. Now coming to you, Hassan Khan Saab, if I may ask a very simple question related to the current situation. If you look at the number of American troops who died, that's around 2,300. So let me put this question. I think there's some technical problem with the other guest. So 2,300 people died. 20,000 were injured. And interestingly, this is a huge number. This is almost the story of 2 decades. You think, sir, the actual American objective, whatever it was, initially we thought that, okay, this is to eliminate Al-Qaeda. And I still remember George Bush, talking on the television and saying, we'll smoke them out from those caves. We'll smoke them. They couldn't smoke them out. They have destroyed the caves, perhaps. Whatever happened in Tora Bora, if you remember, that was not something normal. But still they couldn't. Bush, Obama, 2 terms, Donald Trump, now Joe Biden. Nothing has changed a lot on that front. But nothing has changed on this front other than absolute destruction of Afghanistan, sir. Still dependent on the American money, American dollars, as they say. Do you think the American objectives have been achieved or no?
I would say partially. Partially they have achieved something, but...
it wasn't only related to Al-Qaeda, sir. There were other objectives as well.
No,
sure.
Let's discuss what those objectives were. I mean, just saying that, they wanted to destroy Al-Qaeda, what was the difference between Al-Qaeda and the Taliban? Taliban mostly focused on this region. Al-Qaeda's outreach was much bigger, larger outreach. They could strike across the continents, not only across countries, but across continents, right? So, if you ask me, I think during the past 20 years, that outreach of Al-Qaeda has been curtailed greatly. Why I am saying that lately we have not seen major attacks by Al-Qaeda terrorists either in America or Europe or any Western country, which shows that the Al-Qaeda capability has been curtailed. But having said that, the Taliban affiliates in other areas, just like in North Africa, so to say, Boko Haram and, different variants of extremist groups.
Indonesia, perhaps.
Indonesia is there, but more or less the American interest and European interests have been to some extent secured. So, if you ask me what objectives they have achieved, not all, but at least this one objective has been achieved. Now, having said that...
So, when you say the American interest has been achieved, it also tells us another story which is quite opposite. That also tells us that the role of the Russians, the Chinese, Pakistanis, Iranians have increased also. Their influence has multiplied on the Afghan region as such. The initial planning of the US that the involvement of India would be there has been reduced or marginalized to a certain extent.
Yes.
And the overall presence, once it's not there in Afghanistan, things would definitely take a turn. So I'm not saying it is going to have an immediate U-turn. Perhaps things will change over a period of time.
So there are, 2 schools of thought looking at that. One school of thought says that these groups like Taliban, Al-Qaeda, Daesh, they are entirely separate identities, and they have their own operational structure, they strike independently, their ideologies are also different. So this is one school of thought which does not mix these three groups, Taliban, Al-Qaeda and Daesh. Then there is another school of thought which says that they are different sides of the same coin, because essentially all of them want to establish a theocratic system. Now, this theocracy which they want to establish, that is the main issue in Afghanistan also. Why Western countries are not accepting this easy takeover by Afghanistan? Because for two reasons. Number one, we have seen in 1990s, especially early 1990s, what happened. I have talked about earlier also. Soviet forces withdrew in 1989, right?
Correct.
And at that time, Soviet Union was there, and Soviet Union was supporting Najibullah government. Now, when Soviet Union disintegrated in December 91, after 2 years of Soviet withdrawal, the new Russian government led by Boris Yeltsin, they curtailed supply, especially oil supply that was given to Kabul government at that time. And there was no financial support also. So once that support dried out from Russia at that time, Soviet Union was no more there. Within a year, Najibullah government collapsed, though Najibullah repeatedly tried to negotiate with the Mujahideen groups of that time. But they were sure that they would, just like probably Taliban.
And we all know what happened to him.
Yes. And just like Taliban are sure right now that, if forces withdraw, they will be able to capture Kabul. Exactly, that's what happened at that time.
I still remember, sir, there was a time when Najibullah wanted to fly to India, and he went to the airport, and the forces of the Uzbek leader, Dostum.
Rashid Dostum,
they were already present. So things were out of his control, actually.
Yes.
By that time.
Yes. And for 4 years, he stayed in UN compound.
Yeah.
So he was killed in 96
Yeah.
After the Taliban takeover. So anyway, what I am coming at is the point that we need to see is that, there is no other option but negotiation, intra-Afghan dialogue and coming to a power sharing formula. If anybody thinks that, after American withdrawal, Taliban will occupy Kabul and they will be able to continue for long, again, they are, I think, not judging the situation correctly, because the world community, United States itself, European Union, they did not accept at that time, and they will not accept, and this will not be good for the region to have another theocratic extremist state, so close to you. If you ask me, you and me, would you like to be ruled by a group like Taliban? No.
Never. Nobody.
No. So, this is kind of, social, they are wrong. The Taliban are at the wrong side of history. They have tried previously to put the clock back. They failed. And if they try again, they will fail again. So this is what something is, very instructive for
these
Pakistan.
are the symptoms so far, the Americans, the Russians, perhaps the Chinese, they are treating at the moment, the symptoms. The real disease is going to be a problem and a half.
Real disease is extremism.
Sir,
Fundamentalism.
The mindset.
Terrorism. Mindset. Medieval,
that is going to be a problem.
Mindset.
That is what we can't
These afford to,
problems. Have right next to us. No matter how good or how favorable
good
they
Taliban.
are. The good Taliban. They're good Taliban, they're bad. So
there are no good or bad Taliban. Taliban are Taliban. Their mindset.
Your own Prime Minister said so on many occasions, sir. The good Taliban and the bad Taliban.
But I don't agree with this description. It's like saying good terrorist and bad terrorist.
Exactly. Now, Hassan Khan Saab, Assalamu Alaikum ji. Khan Saab, can you hear me ji? Hello?
Yes, hello. मुझे आवाज आ रही है आपकी?
जी. Good to have you in the show, sir. Now, first of all, a couple of very important developments, sir, which took place during the last 24 to 36 hours, including one about the announcement of the US withdrawal from Afghanistan. Khan Saab, being such a seasoned journalist, and you have got, the kind of information you have regarding that, how do you see this? Something is happening, or again, another date has been set the way Obama did so many times. After that, Donald Trump told the world that 1st May. Now Biden says 11th September. Your take, sir.
I think personally speaking, to me, it is not a bad date because we are in state of war, especially Afghanistan in state of war for the last 40 years, and now we are very close to
We'll
the
just take a
target. The
short break here,
target.
Ji. After the break, we'll just return and we'll continue our discussion. Welcome back to the program. Ji, Hassan Khan Saab, please, if you may continue, sir.
Yeah, Faisal, so I was talking about the situation in Afghanistan and the world interest for the last, I think, more than 1 or 2 years. So it was a very great opportunity. It was a very great window open for the Afghan peace, and I'm still pretty sure that the U.S. New announcement, President Biden new announcement, maybe he announced it later, that by 9/11 all the U.S. troops will be out of Afghanistan. So I think it's not that big issue, and the Afghan have to realize, especially the Taliban, that without having a sense of a type of a understanding between the Afghan, if the US quit, so that will be a nightmaric situation for the Afghan again, and we have seen it. In the past, when the Afghan start fighting with each other, so then there is no stopping that. So I believe that the Taliban is a great responsibility because Taliban are now sticking to this position that they will not be part of any peace processes, etc., including the one which is to be held in next week. So they said they will not be part of it until and unless all the international troops withdrew from Afghanistan as per the agreement with the United States of America. So I think that I personally believe, being an Afghan observer, that the time period given by the Biden administration, it is hardly a few months. By 9th, now we are in. This is we are April, so I think April is almost ending. So May, June. 4-5 months are there. So I think definitely if you have to move all the logistics and you have to pull the troops out of Afghanistan, so definitely I believe it will take that much time. So now it is time for those, especially the international community, including Pakistan, China, and Russia. They need to press Taliban because Taliban are taking a very rigid position, and I think that will compromise this opportunity which so far we have in hand. Is trying its level best. Pakistan is trying its level best. The Chinese, the Russians are also interested in it, but unfortunately, Taliban have their own peace plan. So far, American have they have expressed their mind. Pakistan has expressed its mind that what type of future administration it desires in Kabul. The Russian, when there was this conference of extended troika in Moscow, they come up with a communique where they ask for a government for a certain period and complete ceasefire. But so far, Taliban, their position seems to be very, very rigid, and I think that rigid stance is going to.
But Khan-Sab, they have agreed to go to the Istanbul summit, and they have also agreed. Initially, there was a statement, a tweet by their spokesperson from Qatar, I remember, and he said that we will not be taking any part in the Istanbul summit. Perhaps we are not ready to, sort of get engaged with the rest of the community on the 16th. And perhaps they wanted some time, and they have been given time. A date has been set. So things are moving in the right direction. Khan Sahib, one important point as well, and that is about the future. Obviously, I was watching a couple of reports last night on CNN and a couple of other foreign channels. And one thing which was very important was about the funding. What about the post-exit formula? Who is going to finance them? Who is going to look after them? What sort of a mechanism should be in place, and how to look after the affairs of the Afghan people? Forget about the Taliban and the government of XYZ. Generally speaking, it's about the people. They do not have any economy. They do not have any funding. They can't even pay their bills. They can't even pay their soldiers their salaries. So what do you expect?
I think that's a $1 question, and definitely that is up to the world to think about it, that if they don't want Afghanistan to fall again into that internecine wars or in the internal conflict, so definitely they have to pump in the money and continue to pump the money post the peace agreement, God willing, if it happens. So far, I'm not sure. So if there is an agreement, so definitely it will be the responsibility of the international community, particularly the United States of America, because so far almost 90+% of the money injected into the Afghan economy goes to the security operators. So I think once the war is, I think the peace return, there is a government of which Afghan desires, and they're all agree over a certain type of an administration. So I think then the money, the current flow of money, if it is continuing more years, so it will be enough to sustain the Afghan economy. But unfortunately, they have more than 300 and plus thousand troops, which for a country like Afghan, I think it is too much. But the reason is that internally there is it is very much destabilized. There is not a single province in entire Afghanistan where we can say there is the complete threat of the government, or there is a complete peace is restored. Not out of 33 plus provinces in Afghanistan, you can't show me a single province where there is a semblance of peace, or there is certain development is happening on. So definitely once that happens, so I think the major the major amount of money which is currently being injected into the Afghanistan is taken and it is consumed by the security. So I think once that security side is addressed, so definitely a lesser amount of money will be enough to sustain the Afghans and their economy.
All right. Now, Brigadier Sahab, another important area, and that is about the final course of action. I mean, the Russians are on board, Pakistan, Chinese, Iranians, and the other stakeholders, including the Taliban as well as the government of Afghanistan. Now, sir, it seems that most of the issues they've been sorted out, but still, the final phase, post-exit, let's suppose the Americans do exit, if everything goes just fine, there is no spring offensive from the Taliban, and things are very much in control. You believe, sir, the withdrawal and the kind of preparedness for the Afghan forces just to handle any mega issue or any major attack, that cannot be developed, sir, in 4 or 5 months if it hasn't been developed in the last 20 years, to be very honest. Do you see something going wrong somewhere, sir?
Yes, I think the primary question is the sort of framework which these forces are thinking that post-US withdrawal, that framework would be there, and that framework can sustain or take care of the whole situation, and that it has a force of implementation behind. This is the primary question. Now, if they are not working for that framework, in which that framework is that the Taliban, which is one of the contesting parties, should be given enough space in the government. The other stakeholders should also be given enough space as per their satisfaction. And that framework is effective, then probably peace will return. Otherwise, it will, if that framework is not worked out, and presently it appears that initially it was that they will work out on that framework. When you are talking about Taliban attending the meeting and you talk of the Afghan government attending the meeting, these two contenders, the question is not limited to them. There are other forces. In fact, in this case, in the postulation which the Americans had forwarded, they had said that the existing militias will be disarmed. Now, Taliban is a very big militia. And the Afghan government, which has behind them, and Malaysia, the Malaysia they are not prepared to disarm. And these three elements, government, the present Afghan government, America, to really work for this solution. If they are not prepared, then probably there will be negotiations, and at the end of the day, the date will arrive, and there will be a precipitate withdrawal, what you call. There are many questions. For example, the Americans have promised, but it is not in black and white, that who will be funding the future Afghan setup, which is worked out. This setup not only to be worked out fraction-wise, but it also has to be supported by a constitutional change, that this will be a permanent solution to Afghanistan. This is not an easy task. This is not a small ask. And the time frame given is too short for this that you are saying. So initially we've been saying withdrawal, but withdrawal with responsibility. Now this is not happening. And that is why I said that it is a very toxic addition to the whole process. The Pakistan point of view is that the Americans should go, but they should stay till they work out this framework in Afghanistan as to what is going to happen post-withdrawal, and including the funding, including how this future setup, when it is worked out, what will be the force behind it to implement its sort of authority or rate, what you call, of the state. These are questions which are basic.
Or Brigadier Saab, there was this statement by a senior US administration official, and he said the Taliban have been warned if they attack US troops during the pull-out phase, then they will be met with forceful response. So you think even if not the Taliban, some other non-state actors, perhaps Daesh, ISIS or other splinter groups, perhaps if they do something of that sort, sir, do you think this process could get derailed? Something could go wrong somewhere, sir?
Absolutely. In fact, Americans have not clear about their war aims in Afghanistan. When they wanted to work out as to how to correct the situation, and they brought in a very competent general. Though he asked for first definition of the war aim in Afghanistan. Their aim was never to defeat Taliban or eliminate Taliban. If that is the aim, then probably they required much more troops in Afghanistan, which they were prepared to spare. So this was the right from the beginning, the sort of deficiency in their war aim. If the war aim was only to defeat Al-Qaeda, then they thought that they have achieved it to a great extent, and then they can go on to finish this. But it does not include Taliban. So I think they are still in with those sorts of doubts in their mind and situation on the ground. Taliban are not only that this is an extremist organization and so forth, terrorism and so, but they are also belong to Afghanistan. And then it comes to that they represent quite bit of Afghanistan in that man, not electorally, but in a manner that they represent their ideologies. And they say that they are Afghans. So I think it is a very complex issue. They are to let the sort of thing that they forwarded, that is workable. It was further improved by Russians. They understand situation in Afghanistan. They excluded India.
All right, I'll get back to you on that, sir. Now, since we are running out of time, but sir, one important area, and that is about, obviously, when you listen to the American Chief of Staff, sir, the general says that, okay, well, there is a policy, again, with lots of contingencies, then there is a diplomatic effort, diplomacy, and then there is a final course of action. And then we'll see what exactly needs to be done. But, sir, the point, again, is pretty important, and that is regarding the most important factor, and that is about the trust deficit, number one, sir. Anything can trigger that, anything, at any time. And the second important aspect is that when you look at the overall situation, on one side we see Abdullah talking so good about none other than Mullah Abdul Brother Ghorani, that we are brothers, we are like this. And he in fact reciprocating the same way. So I do not understand that kind of an equation, number one. Number two, about the overall perception, because they want, the Taliban I'm talking about, they want half of the major posts, the power sharing when it comes to it. 10 out of 21, that's what they want. What is that supposed to mean now?
Now, two things here you pointed out. One, Abdullah calling them Mullah brother. I think this was just an expression they use with your countrymen, you know. So if there is a Pakistani, I would say my brother. So they say Afghans are brothers. So it doesn't mean that ideologically they are also brothers. There is no ideological affinity between them. They represent two entirely different streams of thought. So I think
you believe that there is no concept of convergence of interest? There are going to be a lot of divergences?
Yes.
And on top of that, the adversaries, these two are.
Yes,
correct?
They are adversaries, of course. So what I see in future is that unless there is a power sharing formula, and the trust you talked about, where the trust will come from? Trust essentially comes from the steps and decisions you make. I think from the Afghan Kabul government side and from American side, they to some extent they have abided by the promises. For example, the Afghan government, Kabul government released thousands of prisoners, Taliban prisoners who were under their custody.
Without the will of their president.
Yes, but to
That's
some
another
extent
reality,
they released those prisoners. From American side also they have reduced the number to 2,500 and they are ready to completely withdraw by September. So so now the ball is completely in Taliban's court. They need to do a couple of things. Number one, I think immediate unconditional declaration of ceasefire, that we will not attack unless when the negotiations are going on, we will not attack Afghan
Sir,
forces.
this is the month of
or Afghan-
Ramazan, just started today. Today is the first roza, right? So for the next 29, 30 days, normally they always make sure that ceasefire should be in
This
place.
is the golden time to negotiate then.
No spring offensive.
Yes, so there's a golden opportunity to negotiate. So once there is ceasefire, you negotiate and then you show a relatively flexible position. If you go
All right, sir.
with stubborn position, there will be no result.
All right, sir. But anyway, let's see.
Thank you.
The next couple of months are really important. So anyway, that's all we have for this half. I'll see you again. Till then, you take good care. Khuda Hafiz.